Hi guys, welcome to another episode where we discuss the Wimbledon, and we have so much that's happened in the last 3 days. What did we expect of the semis and what happened?
Both games expected results, nonetheless, but then I thought there is going to be more fight from the players who lost both games. So Fritz as well as Djokovic, I thought would put up some more grit, some more fight, but at the end, right, the quality that these two players possess, do Sinner and Alcaraz, that they steamrolled their opponents and there was absolutely no match. And same goes for the women's side of it also, where Belinda Bencic essentially surrendered to Iga Swiatek, who eventually went on to win the title, and we'll get to that later. And also Arina Sabalenka. Now that was one of the last upsets that we have been talking about across the season. And Amanda Anisimova, what a story! What a player she is. Although she got double baited in the final, but absolutely stunning performance in the semis.
To be honest, starting with the men's semifinals first, the Djokovic Sinner match was so disappointing. It's like either Djokovic did not want to be there because his body language was so like, I'm done and I know I cannot fight Sinner. And he accepted defeat very early on in the game, but was just respecting Sinner and playing it. I don't know what went wrong, but it was not peak Djokovic that we have seen in the past few years.
Absolutely, absolutely. This was unlike Djokovic, Tanya. This was so unlike Djokovic. Don't get me. I mean, this is the same guy who defeated Federer when he was two championship points down back in 2019, right? And the same guy, what, 6 years from now, 6 years from that day, has completely shot shop against Sinner. You don't see Djokovic do that, against Sinner or against any player. Yes, the third set he was struggling a bit physically, but in the first couple of sets he was totally outplayed. There was nothing that Djokovic was doing was working for him. He towards the end of it he tried serving and volleying. That is traditionally the way to go in or on grass. Now that worked for a while, but then again when Sinner got to know what his game style was, what the changes were, he adapted, and Sinner is so quick in doing that. Sinner
Yeah.
immediately adapted his game. He started putting in deep returns, all of that, and it again, I mean, left Djokovic with no chance. And the thing against players like Sinner and Alcaraz, is like you have the margin of error that is essentially zero. You are not allowed to make a single mistake. If you do, they pounce on you, and that is exactly what happened across two games. Talking about Djokovic and Sinner, I completely second your thoughts. It almost looked like Djokovic did not want to be on the court. It was like he was done. He had achieved everything that was supposed to be achieved in that game. I had a thought, before Djokovic stepped onto that court, that if he somehow ends up defeating Sinner and if he somehow, against all odds, ends up defeating Alcaraz also, might as well just announce retirement. He would have conquered tennis. If
Yeah.
he already has not, he has completely conquered tennis. He has won everything, including the Olympics. And to see him go out the way he did was heartbreaking. His wife up there, Stephen Djokovic, his daughter, everyone, that young kid, my God, what passion does that boy have? Shouting, screaming for Djokovic up until the last one, but that guy could not do. It was just not meant for him.
Yeah.
Take nothing away from Sinner though. He played a wonderful game. He got broken in the third set, and that's where everyone thought that, Djokovic is going to do another Djokovic again, maybe for the one last time. Cricket folks would understand how we backed Kohli for that one elusive century to take us back in time again. That did not happen. This did not happen.
Do you think it's time for Djokovic to retire now?
I don't know. Look, I don't know if he's going to retire immediately or if he's going to stay up until the US Open, ATP Masters 1000. But I feel that we have seen the last of Djokovic on the center court. Now, Djokovic has got, I mean, no comments when it comes to Djokovic's skill. He is right up there with Sinner and Alcarazes of the world. But in fitness level, age catches up to you at some point, and that has done.
But coming to Alcaraz and Fritz, that was a pretty entertaining match. Fritz did try, but again, he was against Alcaraz and could not do much.
That is exactly and that is my point, which I made a while back, that the margin of error is so low when you play these guys. They are looking for just one break of stuff. And what happened in the second set or the third set that Fritz won was that he ended up beating Alcaraz 7-5. Fritz won the second set 7-5, if I'm not wrong, which meant that the last service game of that set, he broke Alcaraz. Now that is the point, right? Because that set was started by Fritz serve. So Fritz won the first game and he went 1-0 up. Now when you're 1-0 up, your opponent is always going to play catch up. Now, be it Alcaraz, be it Sinner, at some point scoreboard pressure does kick in, no matter how good you are. You know, serving was one of the aspects of Alcaraz's game that people thought, that he had to improve or he is not right up there as he needs to be. But the way he has served throughout the Wimbledon has been incredible. He has changed his style of serving. He keeps his head more still. He watches the ball all the way up and he completes the swing. It is exceptional. It is textbook serving. So that with that thing improved, he essentially becomes unbeatable apart from anyone other than Sin. Sinner and Alcaraz have a contrasting style of play where Sinner goes more flat and Alcaraz is a lot of spin. So that is there. And Fritz also was clever enough to bring that up in the press conference that he would much rather have faced Sinner at any point than Alcaraz because Alcaraz is so unpredictable. What Sinner does is Sinner is a wall, a complete wall. No matter where you hit, the ball is going to come. And that the same thing happened with Ben Shelton now. And I'll just go back to the quarters for a second. Ben Shelton was never going to win that game because no matter how good of a player he is, he broke into the top 10 and everything, but he still has that temperament missing when it comes to big games. And when it comes to long rallies, you are never going to defeat Sinner at his own game. Sinner's game is to wear the opponent down, play one more ball than the opponent, and somebody like a Ben Shelton is never going to win rallies against Sinner.
Who do you think is winning between Sinner and Alcaraz today?
I have a feeling that it is going to be Sinner.
Sinner?
I have a feeling that it is going to be Sinner because Alcaraz has shown that he has gaps and loopholes in his game, right? Because that double fault at Love 30, that first round match against Fabio Fognini, all of that, we know that Alcaraz can switch off at points. Sinner does not. Sinner is a monk when he plays. He is poetry. There's no better player when he's on song. And now
Correct.
that brings me to the point for a brief second about how good, how incredible Grigor Dimitrov was that night. Man, what a heartbreaking story. Two sets up.
I
No one has ever been able to do that against Sinner
I
this
know.
season. And the only two sets that Sinner has lost was against
Was
Grigor
him.
Dimitrov, right? So, heartbreaking stuff. And also, if Dimitrov was to win that match, it was supposed to be in three sets. Because if Sinner was winning the third set, there's no way. I could not see a world where Dimitrov comes back and wins either the fourth or the fifth set.
I am honestly very excited, but are we ready for another 5 hour match or is it going to get earlier? Who
Four sets.
knows?
I do not know about the time taken because I kind of don't see anyone getting broken on serve because both of them are so strong.
Yeah.
So I am seeing a lot of games going into deuce, a lot of long rallies, and
Correct.
at least a couple of sets going into tie. This is what I think is going to be. Now,
Correct.
unless one of the player comes up and puts on an incredible return game that no one has thought about, is going to be a different thing altogether. But both players continue the way that we have seen them play throughout. This we are in for a long Sunday evening, Tanya, I'm sure.
What about the women's tennis? What happened yesterday? Why was it so disappointing in terms of gameplay? I mean, it got over in less than an hour.
Exactly right. You don't see finals getting done so quickly.
Yeah.
And Amanda Anisimova, firstly, for her to reach where she did after all the setbacks that she has faced, went slipped into depression, lost her father, dropped out of 400 rankings, again to train, come back, defeat Arina Sabalenka, although Sabalenka did a Sabalenka, asked her to apologize for a net code and whatnot, right? All of that, fought through all of that, defeated Sabalenka. One fact here, Amanda Anisimova is the only player in the world who has a better head-to-head against Sabalenka. She leads 6-2 against Sabalenka. So that's a fact. And she always has had her number as Anisimova. Also, we saw against the game where Laura Sigmund played against Sabalenka that actually on grass, Sabalenka has her weaknesses. Laura Siegmund played a lot of slices, so did Dimitrov. Right? So slices is the way to go against these two players because Sabalenka is pure power. and a lot of consistency, but you can rattle her with, slowing the pace down and everything. So Laura Siegmund did that. Again, I mean, just not enough quality to beat Sabalenka, but not the case with Anisimova.
But what about the finals? Like I watched the match yesterday, thinking to get into like at least a 1.5 hour of a Grand Slam final, and it gets over in less than an hour. I mean, it was like an email, like, "Hey, she won, bye."
This was more like, this first is not did not look like a Grand Slam final. Grand Slam
I
final
don't know. It was so
don't. I mean, they
disappointing.
get over in straight sets. That's okay, but double majors, six love is there was no match. There was
Yeah,
no match in that encounter. So, but I mean, Shriyontek played a perfect game. I wouldn't even say it was a near perfect game. It was a perfect game. Everything that she did was coming off. And there's nothing more Amanda Anisimova with the experience that she has. She's 23, and with the skill set that she has, could have done, to prevent that. And she was generous enough to bring that up in the post-match interview also, that all she can do is thank her team. I mean, there's nothing that the team could have done. There's nothing that she, as a player on court, could have done that afternoon that could have even posed a challenge to Iga Swiatek.
right.
She's just incredible. And after 2016, apart from 2020, due to COVID, where Wimbledon was not played, every single women's winner has been different. Right, starting from 2016, Garbinia Muguruza, up until Iga Swiatek in 2025, we've had a lot of different players who have won this. But if I'm not wrong, Arina Sabalenka has not won, or
Oh,
maybe she did.
wow.
This is one fact that I am almost sure about, that Arina Sabalenka has not won in the recent years. Also, the player, I guess it was Bondurusova, she won last year and she went out against Emma Raducanu in the first round. Such is the uncertainty in the women's circuit. You don't see Alcaraz going out, and such is the quality of the players coming up in the women's circuit. So
Right.
it is amazing. It will be interesting to see what Iga Swiatek does next year in the Wimbledon, and before that, this year in the US Open, because it
Yeah,
is going to
yeah.
be very interesting. Because Coco Gauff ends up being a completely different player when it comes to her home slam.
But very interesting. We are definitely, obviously, going to watch the finals today, but the semis were interesting, way better than what we expected, and our predictions are right, so that's great. We have stopped
Yeah, for a
jinxing.
change, predictions went right.
Yeah, yeah. But now you are expecting a sinner win. I'm
I am
expecting a
expecting a
grand win.
final.
Thank you everyone for watching the video. We will see you all very soon, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And and thank you so much. Let us know who you think is gonna win in the comments below.
Bye.
Bye.